My religious background is a bit odd because neither of my parents are religious, but on the other hand, all of my grandparents are very religious. I'm sure they probably aren't happy with either of my parents, but on the other hand, I don't think they really hold anything against like my siblings or I, because we just didn't really get raised with a whole lot of religion.
I grew up in a Christian home, but the truths that were taught to me as a child was not something I accepted growing up. And I actually came to the point when I first got to college, I totally just rejected the fact that there was even a God, and it really was manifested itself in a disdain and a hatred for a God.
I have considered being part of a religion, and I've actually been to at least a couple dozen church sermons, and I've been to Sunday school a few times for various reasons. It just never clicked with me. It never really felt like it had anything to do with me. I was just sort of there sitting for a while, and then I wasn't.
A good buddy of mine invited me to a worship night, which was something I typically would not have ever gone to, especially because I didn't like God. And I went to the worship night and they played this song. It's called From the Inside Out. And it says, "In my heart and my soul, I give you control. Lord, consume me from the inside out." And I sat down there and I just broke down because I knew that I had to stop running.
I think being a good person is really subjective. That depends mostly on how much they're conscious of other people and actively try to help other people, or at least not hinder them. But on the other hand, you can't give everything, because you do have to still be yourself. So it's just sort of finding a good balance of not, ruining other people's days or lives, but on the other hand, not letting yours get ruined either.
So here's where it gets tricky, because what values does a Christian have? And you look at that verse, what values does a non-Christian have? And in terms of morality, you can be a good person whether you believe in God or not. If you have an atheist guy that's going out and delivering bread to homeless folks, and then you have a Christian guy that's just not doing anything, I'd say the atheist is being a better person.
Not everybody realizes the ramifications of the choices they make, and some people might full well understand the ramifications and they just don't care. I think it just sort of depends on the circumstances and who's involved.
The Bible says that when we sin, God gave us, in the very beginning, God said, I'm going to give them over to their desires. I'm going to let them choose to do what they want to do. All right? And in that choice comes the choice to follow God.
The fact that I don't necessarily have a moral code assigned to me, I can sort of choose what I think is and isn't right. On the one hand, I do think it's good for some people to have because they might be less than morally correct, or they might be really confused or trying to figure things out, and it might help a lot to have somebody or an outside force be like, this is what your moral code should be. But for me personally, I like having the choice to decide what I think is good or bad and think things through, and not have anything else tell me what is or isn't right.
I believe that life has moral value because there's a creator who loved us enough to give us that life. And when you follow that line of thinking, that there's a God that loves you enough to create you, so that we should have value for moral life in upholding the life, in quality of life, and in supporting other people who are living. When you take away anything but God, you're left with moral reasoning that doesn't have a logical end. Why does life matter if it's just a random accident?